In advance, as of the recording of this video, my buddy Robert over at the Metal Meltdown has dropped his review of this record. I'm going to link to that in the description box below. Highly suggest you guys go and check his review out because, as always, he completely kills it. Hey, our review family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morse, the review guy, reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. And in this one, I'm going to be covering the new Anaal Nathrakh record entitled Endarkenment. Well, Anaal Nathrakh is back with their 11th studio-length album, once again released on Metal Blade Records, and going into this, much like Napalm Death's most recent record, a part of me was feeling like no other band would suit this current climate quite as well as a band like Anaal Nathrakh. Their eclectic, brutalized take on so many different genres that they merge into this big amalgamation that is a combination of many extreme styles of metal, whether you're talking black metal, industrial metal, grindcore. They have a way of just coming off with the abrasive level of messaging as a band such as Cattle Decapitation that really does have a style that you wouldn't necessarily associate with having the most philosophical lyrics, but the way that they tackle a lot of socio-cultural and political topics, especially on their last record and the record that came before it, is incredible. Combine that with the promotional material for this record in advance being pretty much fireworks, and the fact that their last record was one of my favorites the year that it dropped, and my expectations were pretty high. Call it pressure, call it whatever you want. I just thought that they would come through, and pretty much they did. I do echo the sentiment that after listening to this record, it seems sort of like a safe take on what they've done before, which Anaal Nathrakh and safe in the same sentence is quite the conundrum, bit of a contradiction, but I think in terms of formulaic pattern, they really do follow a lot of their own guidelines that they've set, and even though they do remain to be as eclectic as they've ever been, there is something that feels very familiar to their most recent works. I mean, I'm still completely shocked, sort of kind of like the band Lightning Bolt, that two guys can conjure up this much sound. That being said, Dave Hunt still sounds fucking phenomenal on the vocals. The range that he has in terms of his highs, his lows, his shrieks, his growls, his singing, the ominous sort of dungeon chanting. He sounds like some demonic pastor howling from the grave. Like, surprisingly, there are some genuinely just ominous, freakish moments across this record that come off as creepy, but the instrumentation never necessarily slows down to become too murky or slow-paced to become boring. It's always usually in the vocals. Once again, across 10 tracks in 41 minutes, Anaal Nathrakh is just proving that they have the muscles, and they flex those muscles to take all of these major ideas but make it one cohesive beast. And while it does feel unrestrained and it feels so chaotic, it also feels like they do have a tether. They understand what they are playing with, and nothing ever becomes too out of control that it's too difficult to digest. For the most part, tracks sort of like Beyond Words or Thus Always to Tyrants, the more grindcore, or what I would say blackened grindcore sections, become a little bit too over the top at times. Now, it is no surprise, Anaal Nathrakh's percussion has always sounded just like straight gunshots being fired off. It sounds like a double barrel, but some of these moments just become a flurry of static that just blazes by, and combine that with the song lengths being sometimes quite short, such as Thus Always to Tyrants, and you're met with this strange dichotomy of waiting for the sections that feel a little bit more well fleshed out and not just like speed for the sake of speed. And I think that does undermine both the lyrical messaging as well as contrasts oddly with some of the slower sections in comparison for Anaal Nathrakh. I think that now, more than ever, Anaal Nathrakh's take on just bombastic and eclectic extreme metal just seems very topical, very resonant. While in their specific genre, they do seem like they are just super unique and really do stand out in the field with how many influences that they put into their sound. But I feel like by Anaal Nathrakh's standards, they're definitely playing by their own formula in a really strong way, and it's these moments where they do come out with a black metal riff, where they do really hit one of those grindcore grooves, when they have those industrial elements, those death metal elements, or these chanted choruses. And unfortunately, I would say that those chanted vocals, the sung vocals, the howling vocals, do kind of remind me a little bit of, say, something from Swallow the Sun in a way, or even like a Ghost chorus, just very cathedral-esque. And I'm not going to lie, they are off-putting and contrast very oddly with the instrumentation that they are choosing to pair them with, such as on the title track, Endarkenment, where they just feel so out of place compared to how fast and how lively the instrumental is, specifically when they pop in. While this addition does seem like something that you would be like, oh, this strikes as something different, it changes up the mix a little bit, it adds a little bit of spice, I can't help but scratch my head every time it comes up consistently across this record. It's moments like that that made me question why they decided to really go down that route. Now, with that being said, in my opinion, the drums are still the highlight of this entire project. I really do love just how diverse the vocals can be. Absolute beast, absolute monster. Dave Hunt has this just freakish amount of control over lows, highs, mids. The way that he just comes across sounds like this visceral monster that has been let out of its cage and is completely, entirely bloodthirsty and hell-bent on revenge for the people that put it in its cage. And luckily it doesn't really peak, it doesn't really get too terribly loud. It's loud in the sense of being extreme and being abrasive and being right in your face, but it's never so blunt that it blots out everything happening. That being said, the percussion sounds like gunshots per usual. That was one of my favorite things about their past record, is going alongside the ferocious lyricism and the ferocious vocal techniques, the drum work just accompanied it so well. And while the guitar work definitely is multi-phased and the bass work can be very grimy when it is apparent, there are very few bands that just have the same hit as Anaal Nathrakh on percussion. It's hard not to get enthralled by just how frenzied Anaal Nathrakh plays their style. I put them right up there with Nails as one of just the most ferocious grindcore bands, but you cannot label this band as simply one genre. And once again, they have completely proved that they can hold a record that is as cynical as it is aggressive. Once again, much like Nails, there is just something about how antisocial, fuck you, and nihilistic this band comes across consistently, and just how many topics they can tackle. I would say that Endarkenment, compared to their past two records, does at times run the risk of feeling like too much. There are certainly moments where they overstay their welcome a little bit, especially in certain sections where it is just complete auditory assault. But luckily, a very competent production style that handles the vocals well, lets it slide in and out, lets the instrumental speak for itself, and really just mix everything in an equalized fashion, makes this whole record feel like a free-flowing thing despite being over 40 minutes, and that's difficult to do with a record that is just this consistently hard-hitting. That being said, while this isn't my favorite Anaal Nathrakh record, they just sound fresh and topical. They're hitting on so many of the issues that are facing us right now, and I feel like it is a must listen to for any metalheads that want to just feel the hatred, feel the anger of the current climate through the lens of one of the best bands to do it. Personally, I'm going to be giving this album a 7 out of 10. And that is a wrap. Heard this new Anaal Nathrakh record, Endarkenment. If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss this record with you. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is, my name is Jay Morris, the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.